it's Emily and this is my September TBR video, including the Vampire's Diary readathon TBR. So I have a couple plans this month for my reading. I'll be playing my usual game, Serpents and Stairways, which is basically like Snakes and Ladders, to pick 5 books. I also have a kind of surprise Chloe picks my TBR video this month, and I got 3 books from her on top of that, and then I'm going to try and fit all of those into the Vampire Diaries readathon prompts, and there's 10 prompts. So I've got 10 books here in total. 8 are like mandatory reads and then 2 are the extras. So I have my 5 reads for my TBR game, then 3 reads from Chloe, and then 2 reads that are kind of extra bonuses if I can read that many. Recently I have been reading like 11 to 13 books a month, so I think 10 is doable. I think I can complete every prompt. I haven't got really long books in my TBR, and I know you get points for each like page you read, but I'd rather tick off all the prompts and then read like a chunky book after. I think just because long books scare me, but I've got a couple of them here, not that long actually to be honest. But yeah, I think with that we'll start with my TBR game rolls. I do 5 a month. Yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. It's literally Snakes and Ladders, whatever square I land on, I do that prompt. I also apologise for the backdrop behind me today. Normally I do have at least some bookshelves in shot, but I move in like 2 days and there's no books on the bookcases anymore. All my books are packed, so unfortunately we're stuck with my guitars and ukulele and bunting and bedding. So I'm just sat on my bed today. Anywho, with that, let's jump on in to roll number 1. Right, so roll number 1. It doesn't want to do anything. Okay. What's it going to be? 2. 1, 2. Romance. So as you just saw, roll number 1 gave me romance. And for that, I've decided to pick What If It's Us by Becky Albertalli and Adam Silvera. I have had this on my TBR since it came out. Did I pre-order it? But I remember being in first year of university. So it must be about 5 years ago this came out then, because let's have a look. Yeah, 2018, so 5 years ago. I remember having it on my shelf in my university first year halls bookcase where I only had about 15 books with me. I have no idea what this is about, to be honest, but I know it is a male romance, so it fits the prompt for a romance. I believe there's a second book that has already come out for this, but the audiobook's on Scribd, and with the whole moving, actually no, I would have hopefully been settled by the time September starts, because I'm moving the 29th of August. I'm looking forward to picking up this for my romance prompt. So on to roll number 2. So roll number 2 is another 2. 1, 2, Henry pick. Oh my life. Okay, that's scary. As you just saw, I had Henry pick for my TBR roll 2, and so for that prompt my brother comes in, and usually he has a free reign of my bookcase and he just picks an unread book from my bookcase. This month was slightly different because I was trying to fit books from this TBR to prompts on the Vampire Diaries readathon TBR. So I kind of gave him a list of all the prompts that he could pick, and I'll explain in the video. So yeah, here's a video of my brother Henry picking a book for me. Henry pick. Oh, Henry's here. There we go. So Henry's going to pick a book. I've given him a rundown of the Vampire Diaries prompts and then let him wild on that. So hopefully he'll pick a book that fulfills at least one of those prompts. Yeah. But we'll see, because he might not know what is a thriller. Well, you know what a thriller is, but what the book is. And
not books, yeah, I'm not great. But I sort of, my decision is what looks nice, and then I'll go with that, because I could not give any detail on the reading aspect, so yeah.
Okay, well.
Lovely. I'll get picking.
Let's go get picking.
I'm going to go for like a darkish colour.
I've read these shelves up here, so preferably something below.
I'm going to go for like a darkish colour, because it's like a thriller, you know, vampire type stuff. And the first thing that popped out to me was Dead Until Dark by Charlene Harris. That, I mean, that is pretty vampire-y. So, does this count if I go with this one?
Yeah.
I will go with Dead Until Dark by Charlene Mrs. Harris. Or Madam, or Master, I don't know nowadays, but this book. Yeah.
So, as you just saw, he picked Dead Until Dark, which is the first book in the Suki Stackhouse series. I got this in a charity shop when I went through a phase of wanting to read a lot of vampire stuff, and have never picked it up because that phase didn't last very long. But I believe this follows Suki, who starts to date a guy, and it turns out he's a vampire, and then one of her colleagues ends up missing or dead or something, and she has a bad feeling about it all and thinks it could be her boyfriend. But I've never seen the show True Blood. I have no idea about the rest of the series or anything like that. I just picked this up in the charity shop because I knew it was the first one, and yeah, it's not too long. I reckon I could do it quite quickly. I found the audiobook on YouTube as well already, so if I need it, it's there. So yeah, that's that one. And now on to roll number 3. Okay, so that reset, but I'll go with 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Up to all timer. Okay, so as you just saw, roll number 3 was a ladder up from phone a friend to all timer. And when I get a ladder, I get the choice of either of the prompts. I don't have to put the two together. If it's a snake, I combine the 2 prompts. I have to find a book that fits both. If it's a ladder, I get the choice of the 2. So I decided to stick with all timer because I kind of had a couple prompts, as you just saw already, like with Henry Pick, where I can't actually have any freedom to pick the books. So I didn't want to give any more freedom to someone else, give away my freedom with this readathon happening as well. So I decided to go with the all-timer prompt, and for that I have picked United We Spy by Ali Carter. This is the 6th book in the Gallagher Girls series, and I've been rereading them for the last, I want to say like 3 years now. I've been trying to reread this series, and it's the last one. I read the 5th one earlier this year, I want to say. But it's going to be so sad when I finally get to the end of this, because this is a series that I hold really dear to me. First read them when I must have been about 13, and the nostalgia I get from these is just, oh. But I only ever got to book 5 in the series when I first read it, so I've never actually read book 6. So really I've been meaning to read this since I was about 13. So it fits for sure for all-timer, but it would be so nice to finish a series. And yeah, but it would be so sad because I just love this series. If you don't know, it kind of follows this girl Cammy, and she goes to a school for female spies. It's called like the Gallagher Girl Academy. It's not called that. The Gallagher Academy for Amazing Girls. Not those words, but that sort of thing. And secretly they're actually a school for spies. And it kind of all goes from there. The first one is called I Tell You I Love You But I'd Have to Kill You, and there's kind of like a romance plot. She meets a guy outside of the school but can't tell him that she's actually a spy. But then it kind of goes from there, and we're really getting into like the real overarching plot by this point, for sure. Final one. I'm gonna be so sad to finish that series, but I can't wait. So now on to roll number 4. And then roll number 4 is 3. 1, 2, 3. Fantasy or sci-fi? Great. So as you just saw, roll number 4 gave me fantasy sci-fi, and they're grouped together on my game because I don't read that a lot. That's really not my genre. I like realistic fiction, maybe some horror as well. But for this prompt I decided to pick up The Short Second Life of Britannia, which is the kind of, I want to say 3.5 novella in the Twilight series. I'm reading this because Chloe's doing her Patreon read-along. As you may have seen if you've seen my previous TBR videos, I have been reading each book a month, and September is A Short Second Life of Britannia because August is Eclipse. I have had this book so long, I don't know if you can even tell how like disgusting it is, but I'm looking forward to jumping in. I will probably physically read this one as I've been listening to the audiobooks for the other series, because all my Twilight books are disgusting and manky and probably need to go because I got them from a charity shop when I was about 12. So God knows how long they've been about. But this follows Britannia, who is a vampire that is created in Eclipse to take down the Cullens. Just a nice short one this month, and hopefully won't take me too long. I definitely read this once for a readathon, like a week-long readathon, where I read it in a day. So I can very easily read this very quickly. But yeah, so that's the prompt for fantasy sci-fi, because if you didn't know, Twilight has vampires, and that is a fantastical element, so I'm counting it. And now finally on to roll number 5. And then final roll 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, another all-timer. And so as you just saw, roll number 5 gave me all-timer, and for that I've decided to pick Alice in Wonderland by Simon James Green because I've had this for a very long time. This is in my These Books Will Self-Destruct in 12 Months video that I put up a week or two ago. Connor from Connor's Library Corner gave it to me. I have his gifts note in the front still. Me and him tried to read it in 2021 as a buddy read. He read it and loved it. I was moving at that time. Again, I always seem to be moving when I pick this book, and I DNF'd it just because of my situation at the time. So I want to give it a go. I'm really back into my reading at the minute. From what I do remember, I was really enjoying this. I think the whole moving situation just meant that I didn't have time to read and I went into a massive slump at that point. Those are my 5 TBR game picks. I'm now going to go through the books that Chloe picked for me. Well, I say I'm going to go through. I'm going to play the clip now of me reacting to watching the video that Chloe filmed, and then I'll very quickly talk about the books again. I just enjoy the clip because thank you so much to Chloe for doing it. Hello, past Emily jumping in here to do our little reaction to Chloe's TBR that she's picked for me. I'm sure I've just explained everything, so I won't go into it now. But yes, Chloe has decided to pick my well, she hasn't decided to pick my TBR, I asked Chloe. So yeah, she filmed a little clip and this is just going to be me reacting to the video and finding out what my TBR is, and then yeah, I'm very intrigued because she says that she thinks I'll be able to guess it. That was really bad English then. She was like, I don't think you'll be surprised. So let's find out if I am surprised or not. Let's have a look for Emily. 2 minutes long.
Hello, I am sure that Emily has introduced me, but I am Chloe from Chloe Reads Books, and I'm here to give Emily 3 books for her TBR. One of these I feel like she'll know I'm gonna give her, so I'll leave that till last. I'll just let the suspense go. She also asked me to give her books that fit the prompts for my readathon, which she'll be doing this month, so I'll explain where these fit in. So the first one I'm going to go for is Margot and Me by Juno Dawson. Okay. I set your Goodreads TBR to the lowest number of ratings. I like reading books that are obscure, that no one's read, so Margot and Me had a very low number of ratings.
I've had this on my TBR for a very long time. It's literally right here, Margot and Me there. So I'm very excited to read that because I love Juno Dawson, but I feel like nobody talks about this one.
And this is a historical fiction. I did read this one a couple years ago and I quite liked it. I feel like you will like it more than I did.
That'll be the historical fiction prompt then.
And as it is a historical fiction, it has a historical element, and I'm going to say you should read it for the Salvatore boarding house prompt. Next up, I know you love your mystery, like murder mystery stories. So I wanted to recommend one that I'd read, would work for my readathon, and I think you'll like. And that is A Study in Charlotte by Brittany Cavallaro.
Ooh, okay, I've been wanting to read that for a long time too. I've been meaning to read that for a long time. Chloe's doing great at getting these like TBR veterans off my shelf.
So this one is set in a boarding school for kids with very gifted abilities, and our main character is just massively into murder mysteries, and yeah, I just think it's perfect for you. So this would work for the Mystic Falls High School prompt as it's set in a school. Next up, the one that I think you'll know I'm going to give you. I have a different cover, but I'm going to hold mine up. It's one of my favourite books of all time. You need to read Starry Eyes by Jen Bennett. You have to finally read.
She's been on at me to read this for so long. Okay, I'm not surprised at all now that she said that.
Read it, I'm not letting you not. This is such an amazing YA contemporary bordering into romance. It just makes me so happy. It's my favourite Jen Bennett and it's one of my favourite books of all time. It would work for many of the prompts, but I'll give you one that I think might be more difficult to match, and that is the Mystic Grill, to read a book with a friendship, because this is about Zori and Lennon, who used to be best friends but now are dire enemies, and we'll see where it goes from there. It's like a Romeo and Juliet take on a YA contemporary, including a camping trip, and I just think it's fantastic. So those are the 3 books that you should read.
Oh, well, isn't that nice? Okay, I'll go grab the books. So we have Margot and Me by Juno Dawson, A Study in Charlotte, which appears to have a gift note sticking out of, from Lauren. Oh my goodness, that's a long time ago then. And then Starry Eyes. Damn. Okay, that's a pretty decent stack. I'm so excited. So thank you very much to Chloe for doing that for me. I yeah, I'm so excited, and I feel like the covers, the spines have the same sort of vibe. So I'll pass you back to future Emily to go through the Vampire Diaries readathon prompts. So once again, thank you so much Chloe from Chloe Reads Books for doing that video for me, and I'll be doing a full vlog talking about these books. So those are is my little stack for Chloe's readathon, not Chloe's readathon, Chloe's like reading vlog. I'm going to do these every other month. I will pick one of my bookish friends to pick a book from, or two, I said to Chloe 2 to 3 depending on the length of them, books from my TBR, and yeah, just to try and get through some of the books I might not necessarily into. And I'm very grateful, as you may have seen in that clip, these books are all been sat on my shelves for a long time, so I'm glad I can finally get to them. So now I'm going to go over the prompts for the Vampire Diaries readathon. I will leave everything down below that you can check out Chloe and the readathon, and so you can get involved as well. But I'm going to just whiz through the prompts because pretty much all those 8 books fit into prompts, and then I'll talk very briefly about those 2 extra books as well. So the first prompt is Clock Tower, and that's to read a book with a supernatural element, and for that I've picked Dead Until Dark because they're vampires and vampires are supernatural. Rule number 2 is The Mystic Grill. Not rule number 2, prompt number 2 is The Mystic Grill, and that is to read a book with friendship, and as you saw in Chloe's clip, she recommended Starry Eyes for that prompt and I've stuck with it. Also, as Chloe suggested, the next prompt is Mystic Falls High School, and that's to read a book in a school setting, and I'm reading Celine Charlotte as she suggested. Then we have The Salvatore Boarding House, read a book with a historical element, and Margot and Me by Gina Dawson, like I said, as Chloe suggested. Then we have prompt number 5, which is Lockwood Mansion, and that's to read a popular book, and for that I picked Psycho because it's got to be popular enough for it to be like the hit movie. So that's what I've picked for this one. It's very nice and short, so it shouldn't be too difficult to read as an extra book after these 8 books already. Very excited to read that one, so that is my Lockwood Mansion book. Then we have Wickery Bridge, and that is to read a thriller, and for this I did actually text Chloe because I was like, espionage counts as a thriller, right? She said yes, and so I'm picking Annie Carter's United We Spy for this because it's like a teen thrillery sort of book. It's got spies and there's action, so this counts as espionage. Chloe said it's fine, so. Then we have Mystic Falls Cemetery, and that's to read a book with a dark cover, and I've picked Halloween Party by Agatha Christie. I'm reading multiple Agatha Christies at the minute. No, I'm not. I don't know why I said that, but I'm reading a lot more. And if you saw my last reading vlog that I uploaded, I read Mrs. McGinty's Death because the outcome of that book is talked about in Halloween Party, so I wanted to read that one first, and plus Halloween movie. I was going to say the movie, it's really not the movie, but the movie that is very loosely inspired by this book, Haunting in Venice, comes out in September. So I wanted to read this before seeing that. Then we have Gilbert House, read a romance, and that fits very nicely because I picked a romance for my TBR game, and that is What If It's Us by Becky Albertalli and Adam Silvera, so that counts as my romance prompt for Gilbert House. And then we have Forbes House, read a book with a party in it, and for that I picked Alice in Wonderland because from what I remember there's definitely like it's not a house party because there's about 4 or 5 of them, but they're around the fire pit drinking, and to me that's a party because I have them. And then finally prompt number 10 is Mystic Falls, and that is to read a vampire book, and for that Short Second Life of Britannia because Twilight vampires, Britannia is a vampire. She gets turned into one, so that fits very nicely. If I can lift the stack up, those are my 10 books for the Vampire Diaries readathon, my 5 books in there for my game, my 3 books for my Chloe Picks My Books video. I apologise if this video has been really long with Henry pick, Chloe picking, and then the readathon. This is a lot longer than my usual TBR videos, and I haven't even had a nice backdrop behind me, so that's very sad. But yeah, these are the books I plan to read in, what month is this? September. Goodness. I hope I can, and I don't get too distracted after moving, because I'm moving in with friends, out from my parents. So I hope I still do read a lot in the evenings. We'll see. But yes, that wraps up my TBR video for September. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like and subscribe if you're new around here. I really do appreciate each and every one of you, and I look forward to seeing you soon with a brand new video. Bye.